Do you know what your personal style is? Is this something that you've been looking for, searching for, trying to figure out for yourself? Like, I can say, I have been into clothes for years, but it wasn't until the past year or so that I've really felt like I have my own personal, distinct, and unique style locked in that I can feel good about and be proud of. So I know it was a long process for me, and if you're anything like me, it's probably been a process for you too. But this is something we don't talk about a lot on this channel, finding your style. How does one do that? Well, there are layers to this game, okay? But I want to start at the lowest layer today, the base layer, imitation. That's right, the easiest way to look good is to find other people who you think look good and try to look like them. Now, the issue is that most people do this these days on social media by looking at influencers and celebrities and models and things like this, but I don't think that's the way to go. For example, all of those people I just mentioned, they're chasing trends. They're often paid by these brands or designers, and you may not even know about it. And in order to stay relevant in the social media game that we're in, they're probably going to jump to another style as soon as the one that they're on right now isn't looking so cool anymore. But I'm interested in finding something with staying power. So, who do you look to imitate if not people on social media? Well, when it comes to style, I think the best people you can imitate are characters in films. I am a film nerd. I love movies. I try to go to the theaters at least once, maybe twice a week, and when I'm not in theaters, I'm at home watching stuff that's been released before. Whether it's David Lynch, obviously, Paul Thomas Anderson, Lars von Trier, Greg Araki. The list goes on. I'm not just going to do a huge list because then, I don't know, it gives away my hand too much. And also, there'd probably be some omissions that would make other film nerds unhappy. But here's why imitating these characters is so useful, because films, they hire people. They have entire departments solely dedicated to making these characters look good, or at least just look like what they're supposed to look like. That is the costume department. So there are entire teams of people dedicated for months and months on end to make these characters look as interesting and fitting for the role as possible. And that's why I think you get some of the best examples of style and iconography within film. Now, that's a lot of preamble. What does this look like in action? Well, I'm going to show you, because today I have a pair of boots from Boris Bidjan Saberi. And I got these because I wanted to imitate a film character. I was watching the Vincent Gallo film, Buffalo 66, co-starring Christina Ricci, which is an absolute problematic masterpiece, okay? And Vincent Gallo, he wrote, directed, composed it, and also starred in it. His character, pretty much the entire movie, wears these incredible red leather boots. And as I was watching this movie, I couldn't get my eyes off them. I was like, I have to have those. Now, let's leave aside the fact that Vincent Gallo, while a mad genius, is also a card-carrying Republican, kind of despicable person, lots of weird allegations about him, sells his sperm on his website for $1 million. Yes, that is true. You can go look it up. I don't care about all that. I care about the character and the style of that character. And I care about the red leather boots that I could not get out of my mind. And I found this example by Boris Bidjan Saberi, who is like a god of darkwear. And these things are next level cool. So let me show you how I take a piece like this and turn it into style for me. We're gonna check out the details of these boots. We're gonna try them on, see how they feel, how they fit, all that good stuff. So let's dive in. Listen, I cannot tell you how excited I am to check these out. I'm positively giddy, okay? Now we've got a red tote bag here, fitting. I wonder if the tote bags always match the color of the shoes or boots inside. I don't know, you tell me. And then printed on the tote bag, we've got Boris Bidjan Saberi, and then the 11, which does not necessarily mean it is the cheaper 11 diffusion line. The 11 is also just a motif for the mainline brand as well, and these are mainline boots. All right, let's see what we've got here. Open up our tote. and you can already see poking through. Oh, look at the light coming off of those. All right, moment of truth. You're about to see some crazy stuff here, okay? All right, let's look at the details. Listen, I am an unapologetic boot fiend, okay? I love boots, and these might be some of the gnarliest I've ever seen in my life. Like, there's a lot to cover here. I think maybe let's start with the most obvious element that makes these insane, I guess outside of the color. We'll get back to the color. The sole. That is absurd and crazy and almost nonsensical. Like, what is happening here? Well, as you can see, it's like a normal pair of kind of like heeled dress boots. It has the normal shape, like the stacked leather here, and it curves down straight and then a little bit back up, right? Except there's two things going on here. There's a really interesting triangular cutout that makes it look kind of like a Rick Owens, like a bozo boot type of thing in a way. But then on top of that, there is a rubber sole or plastic, some sort of rubber-ish material. I'm not sure exactly what it is. A thin layer of it that just flatly follows along here, but it doesn't fill in the gap in between. It just stays on like a skate or something. It is so interesting. I've never seen anything like it, and I just knew I had to have it because it's so unique and so cool. Like the way that it creates these triangles, these closed triangles with openings through them is so conceptually interesting to me. Some other really amazing details, the asymmetry up here at the top. Like, look at that shape. Oh, gorgeous. Where it's bigger in the front with like the tongue, quote unquote, and then shorter in the back, nice pull tab. And look at this. You've got this suede at the back here. And really interesting, like ombre to the color as well. Like clearly, I think these are probably maybe garment dyed. I know the color treatment is very important to them, so I'm sure it was colored in a very unique and interesting way. So there's this suede here, and then there's a more treated leather at the front here, very, very Guidi style. Like it gets the natural stacking and folding that happens that I find so visually appealing. And then you get a lot of these natural elements with the coloring as well, like almost fingerprints or something at them that darken them. And it makes it look more handmade, more personal, and more unique and one of a kind. Now, what exactly are these made of? Let's find out, because we do have tags here attached to the pull tab right here. So the first tag just talks about the number 11 and what BBS is all about. And it's about feeling the garment as a second skin, a protection that gives you strength. And that folding that happens right here at the front, I think is a really good example of that. It talks about how they're handmade. It's a very personal process. We got the size. These are a 43, so like a US men's 10. We'll talk about sizing later. This one talks about how it's a one-off creation process, really one of a kind, handmade. Talking about the color. And finally, this is the best tag right here. So this is boot 1. Nice and easy. So here are the processes they use. I love that they show you what processes. So it's blood red, makes sense. Object dyed, that's what I thought. So basically they made these shoes and then dyed them after they were complete. Usually they would have dyed the individual elements before putting them together. And what is it made out of? So the outer is veg tan horse skin. Yes, just like Guidi or a lot of the Guidi stuff, it's horse. And they specified that it is veg tan, so not chrome tanned, which is cheaper, but vegetable tanned, which is much higher end. And the inside is veg tan calf skin, so they're playing with multiple types of leather here. Finally, handcrafted in Italy. As good as it gets. Whew. So that is gnarly. These are basically some of the most high-end boots that could be made, I think. Now, as for some of the other details here, there's really cool stuff. So there's this pull tab here. You've got this kind of X stitching to hold it down, but then a nice extra piece of leather that comes down all the way to the bottom there. And behind that is a woven kind of counter here. At the inside, it does zip up, which I love. And it's a really nice zipper, the way that they've constructed that. Because you've got the woven lining here, and then the leather overlaying here, a nice metal zipper, with a red pull tab. And then when you get inside, you can see it's like Rick Owens on steroids here. It's like if Rick Owens is like A tier, then this is S tier leather boot making. Like the early Rick Owens footwear had this handmade quality that they've kind of lost a bit over time. And this keeps it, and it's more in like the Guidi realm of things, like some of the best shoes that can be made on this earth. And as we saw, the inside, it is a different fabric, a bit of a deeper red or more of a purplish red. Look at the texture of that leather. Just incredible. Whereas the outside on the horse skin, it's a little bit of like a tighter variation here. And you can see pressed in right here, Boris Bidjan Saberi. And at the inside, you also get the name pressed in and the size. And that is also a leather insole that's glued in there, I believe. And you can see the entire inside of this thing is leather. There's so much beautiful leather in this. And you can see like natural bruising and scarring and differences in the skin. Like the cuts they've chosen are so cool. And you can see how they've constructed that with this kind of like seam going up the back. So these are some of the greatest boots I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen anything like them, and I'm not sure I ever will again. So I'm going to really, really treasure these, to be honest with you. And all of this happened because I watched a cool movie that had cool costume design. And now I've got these. Isn't life crazy like that? So cool. These boots are insane. I cannot wait to try them on. But in order to do that, we need a fit. We need to know what else we're wearing with them. So what do we got? So for this fit, I think we're going to try mimicking Vincent Gallo's character from Buffalo 66. His name was Billy Brown, and the costume design, it's so good. So obviously he has his red boots, but then the other maybe signature piece of his wardrobe is a really beautiful, like cracked leather jacket. And we don't have something that can match that perfectly, but it is like a tight leather jacket. And for that, what we can do is use this Rick Owens scuba leather jacket in black. I think the fit of this is going to match really well. He's wearing a sort of, I don't know, like slim brown, gray, black pair of pants. And for that, we're going to also go Rick Owens with these waxed, dark gray, cropped denim jeans. They've got the little rope here. Super, super cool pair. And I think the fact that they're cropped will really make the red boots pop more. And then in the movie, he is wearing like a tight gray tank top, kind of Eddie Slimane Dior kind of vibes, but many years before Eddie Slimane Dior, so ahead of his time. I don't have something quite exactly like that, but I think what I'll do instead is go with Enfant Riche de Premier, because we have a beautiful Ringer t-shirt from earlier in the brand's years, and this is the Nosebleed Baron shirt, kind of like a Bauhausy type of design here. Really striking nosebleed going on right here. And I think obviously the red should pop and make each of them stand out more. And just the black of the Ringer, I don't know, it reads as Buffalo 66y to me. So that's our fit. Of course, we'll accessorize as well and add to it and just try and make it look the best we can. But let's see what happens. All right, this is kind of an all or nothing fit. I think it's either going to work or it's just not. So let's see which one it is. We're going to start off with these Rick Owens jeans. Really nice waxed denim, kind of drop crotch, straight leg. And the thing is, with cropped pants like this, they either really work or they fall flat on their face. There is no in between. So I'm kind of taking a swing here and we'll see what happens. Next up, let's throw a shirt on. We've got this Enfant Riche de Premier Nosebleed Baron t-shirt. I think the red's just going to pop with it. And the entire Buffalo 66 costume that we're referencing here felt very like Japanese to me. And this shirt with the Ringer style has a kind of like vintage Japanese streetwear feel to it as well, I think. Now it is kind of a drapey, flowy t-shirt, so I think this one might work best if we tuck it in a bit. All right, and now let's move on to the boots, the main point of this video. Oh my God, these things are insane. First of all, they fit me like a glove. They are tagged to size 33, which usually translates to a US men's 10, and that is my size, although sometimes I think I'm a bit small for it. So I guess you could say these fit a little bit small, like they're snug, but like the right kind of snug where they just latch onto your foot and stay there, and that there's no shake, there's no extra space. It's really nice. And then you're probably wondering how they feel, like with that weird rubber undersole thing, and I actually really like it. It makes for a nice straight step. They're not as like clunky, and they have a little like, I don't know what to call it, like bounce to them, a little bit of like spring, and I think that's because of the space in the middle where the heel cuts off. So you've got, yeah, just a little bit of rubber bouncing and flexing as you step, and it's so interesting. It's a really unique feel. Now, as for the look, I think that there is no criticizing this. I don't think there is any world in which you could say this is not a good-looking pair of boots. Maybe red isn't your color. Maybe the type of like dark wear, dark avant-garde thing isn't your thing. Or maybe you just think the cut and the weird sole thing, it's too loud. But objectively, these are good boots. The horsehide upper in the front gives it that perfect Guidi style stacking folding effect. And that kind of modulates as you step in a really nice way. And it's something that's probably going to work its way into the skin as you wear them. So a few years from now, these are gonna have even more of that foldiness to them, which I think is good. Like when something ages in an interesting way, I think that's a good thing. All right, finally, let's get the Rick Owens leather jacket on. Also, we've got a bunch of rings from Enfant Riche de Primé and chrome hearts and the ERD necklace, yada, yada, yada. Okay, this jacket is the kind of thing that pulls it all together, I think. This is what was needed to make this a full, legit fit. And I think it works really well. And it's one thing, when it's open, it's a bit of a flowy type of fit in the body, like it's airy, there's movement, you know what I mean? But I think zipping it up is actually where it's gonna shine and get that skinny Japanese style fit. By the way, we're throwing on the Enfant Riche de Primé X Jacques-Marie Mage, I think, sunglasses, the Sidewalk Doctor sunglasses. These are the best sunglasses I've ever used in my life. But anyway, back to this fit. Yeah, zipping it up is the way to go. The high neck here, the tightness, kind of the constriction in the chest, the asymmetrical, like diagonal zip, all of it complements these boots incredibly well. So listen, while I don't look exactly like Billy Brown from Buffalo 66, I think this is as close as you can get with a modern interpretation, with modern designers, and this more dark avant-garde feel, but still with that like punk edge from all of the silverware and the ERD shirt and everything. Like the way all this comes together, I'm really, really happy with. And these boots are next level. Like, I hope I can use them a lot. I hope I have the balls to go for this striking red as often as I want to, because I think it's gonna be like a secret weapon in my shoe. Because I think it's gonna be like a secret weapon in my shoe closet. All right, that is the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was informative to you. I hope it gives you some ideas about how you can elevate your style and bring new things into it. Make sure you get subscribed, like, comment, do all these things that help me in the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you next time.